America in all three of those, in terms of access to capital, how we account for capital, our intellectual property, and intellectual capital, where we rank with that. The United States is still doing pretty good. We still produce roughly half of the world's patents, but it is shrinking. But at the root of all of that, the core of all of that is, of course, the workforce and education. And that's at the root of what we're talking about here with these standards, and trying to think through everything we can do to build bridges to create the kind of on-ramp to our economy. All of this is about creating a smart on-ramp to our economy. And later today, you're going to hear from Mark Muriel from the Urban League and others, and there are immutable facts that are happening in the United States. One is we're competing not just with ourselves anymore in a city-by-city competition, or even just a domestic competition. It's global competition. So this race for these three different types of capital is on. But there's something else that's very immutable, and that's the changing demographics of the country. And so if we don't account for that in our education system, then we truly will not have an on-ramp to the economy, and we'll have a lot of people exiting that highway. And that's what we don't want to see happen. So it's vital. And so as I look at what the TechNet side does, which is work with policymakers, and I look at what Converge is doing, which is really trying to bring thought leadership and try to solve very specific problems, there is a linkage between the two. And the last thing I'll share with you is that a lot of the things that I'm involved with personally, all of them center around education, because I think all of us have our own story about what it means in our lives. And I always, at an event like this, acknowledge, and she's no longer with us, but my 6th grade school teacher who saved my life. And she kept me from certain things and promoted me to go into other things. And I used to visit her all the way up until she passed, and she followed my career into law school and everywhere else. But she did one very simple thing, which is well, two very important things, which was she taught well, and so we've got to assist our teachers in teaching well, and these kinds of standards will help. And then the second part, which goes along with that, is she simply believed in me. And so if you look at any educational effort, it takes an adult who cares about that individual. And when you combine that with smart policies and smart programs, and again, standards that make sense, we increase our odds for success. And that's really what this is about. There are never any guarantees, but we want to ratchet up and create the odds for success. So what I will promise you is that Converge US will continue with this effort, but it is a cause that I care about as the CEO of TechNet.